but the building's going down with them.
Wait, what just happened?
Let's roll that again.
When the finals first exploded onto the scene in early December 2023, it was a breath of fresh air. A free-to-play destruction-first shooter that felt new, risky, and incredibly exciting. It completely redefined what environmental interaction could be, especially in the newest season. But we're not on a honeymoon phase anymore. We're in late 2025, the initial buzz has faded, and the real question is, has Embark Studios managed to maintain their breakneck momentum, or is this revolutionary shooter already on life support? Harris spent a significant amount of time back in the game, analysing the content, the community, and the chaotic core gameplay. By the end of this video, I will give you a clear-cut decision on whether I think the finals is worth picking up and committing to in 2025. Remember, this is purely my opinion. You should always make up your own mind after seeing the facts. Let's dive into the current state of the game. We have to start with the numbers, because this is where the conversation always gets hung up. If you check the Steam charts, you see the game's initial astronomical peak, followed by the inevitable drop-off. The immediate conclusion most people draw from this is that the game is dead. But hold that thought. First, remember the finals is highly active on PlayStation and Xbox. Secondly, the game has settled into a stable, consistent player base that ensures you find a match quickly across most regions and most game modes, which is the true barometer for live service games' health. The community vibe is incredibly engaged as well. Just look at the discussions on Reddit, Twitter. There's still a massive amount of love, as well as the classic FPS debates, such as everything from the current meta to time to kill times, and more importantly, the competitive scene is thriving. Events like the Grand Major, starting at the end of November in 2025, prove that there is high-level, organised play, reinforcing the game's longevity. This isn't a dying game. It's one that has found its dedicated, high-quality audience. Balance the meta now. Early on, some people felt the game was all about high burst damage, and that's all that mattered. But now, in 2025, we have generally overall good class balance. Light is your typical glass cannon, high skill, high reward. Heavy is your essential anchor, great for defense and initiation and holding that point. Medium remains the most versatile class, the backbone of any coordinated team, from things like healing with the defibs. Trust me, great class. Crucially, the meta is wide open. Almost any class, any gun, any piece of equipment is viable. Sure, there are meta picks for rank play, but in quick play, your effectiveness is tied directly to your skill level. How well you coordinate. This is what you want in a competitive shooter. On a side note, from my recent experience back in the game, it appears melee weapons are a fan favourite still. And finally, a quick but important note to add to this: the anti-cheat system has been consistently good. Hacking is not a widespread game-breaking problem, which is a massive win in a free-to-play FPS. You need a consistent stream of content to keep the fires burning. Embark has been delivering. We still have the core, cash out and quick play modes, but the variety has grown. They offer a great spectrum: 3v3v3, classic 3v3, and even more frantic 5v5 for pure team deathmatch chaos. We have ranked tournaments. Unlike a traditional ranked ladder, this mode is all about winning a grueling multi-round tournament format. You have to beat 3 other teams back to back to claim glory. It's high stakes, high pressure mode that will truly test your team's consistency. New items have been introduced not just to add flavour, but to shift the meta. Every new gadget or specialisation forces players to rethink how they approach the objectives. But the real star is utility and destruction. This is still the only game where you can use a goo gun to instantly build a fortress around an objective, collapse an entire skyscraper on top of a cash out using such tools as C4. The range of unique containers that explode, creating goo or releasing poison, deployable shields, and environmental manipulation tools ensure that the team's composition remains the most critical factor. One of the coolest aspects of these are using things like the fire canister to burn goo away or to clear poison from an objective. Let's talk about the bit that people don't like talking about: progression and monetization. It's a free-to-play game, so let's talk about the shop. It has a typical battle pass system, now with access to older battle passes so you don't feel locked out of previous cosmetics. The store is what you expect from a modern free-to-play shooter. offering a lot of customization. Where the sheer amount of options can sometimes be overwhelming, the quality of the cosmetics is generally high. You can look fantastic without even spending a dime. We all thought the days of individual customization in the FPS space were gone. Overwatch 2 has a variety of skins, Call of Duty is the same story. But this is where the final shines. Pretty much every bit of your character can be customized, from hats, tops, bottoms, even down to fingernails and eyes. Truly, truly sensational. Now for the summary. After all the updates, the new content and the meta shifts, let's look at the absolute best reasons for playing and the biggest issues that might push you away. Unrivaled destruction. Nothing, and I mean nothing, in the FPS world competes with the destruction here. Creating a kill zone by collapsing a tower block under the cash out is a unique moment that still has not been topped. Kinetic movement and gameplay. The movement feels snappy, the gunplay is responsive, and the class design fosters real team synergy. It forces you to play smart, not just fast. The tactical depth of classes, the sheer utility available, defibs, APS turrets, goo guns, means the game has incredible replay value. You're not just shooting, you're manipulating the environment and your opponents. The visual and audio presentation is still a gorgeous looking game with phenomenal sound design. You hear every footstep, every collapsing wall. Its audio immersion is done right. The arguments against playing right now. The third party problem. This is the biggest persistent issue because destruction is so rampant. Securing a cash out is a constant three-way fight. You often win a battle only to get cleaned up by a fresh team jumping in, which can feel incredibly frustrating and kill the momentum. Matchmaking and skill disparity. Because the game relies on team composition and complex tactics, playing solo can be rough. Matchmaking can feel brutal as a new player, putting you against well-oiled veteran squads who know the maps inside out. The steep learning curve. Unlike other casual FPS games where you can jump in for a round or two and have fun, the final's deep mechanics reliance on team comp can be quite daunting for the new and solo players. Expect to get steamrolled a lot before it clicks. The team size. The 3-player squad size can be a challenge. Where most games are either solos, duos or quads, finding a consistent trio can be a challenge. Final verdict then. So we've broken down the numbers, the content and the core experience. Is the finals worth playing in 2025? My answer is a resounding yes. Personal opinion, by the way. If you're looking for a casual jump in and out experience to play solo, you might find the early hours to be a frustrating, steep, uphill battle. However, if you are looking for the most unique, kinetic and technically deep shooter on the market, especially if you have 2 friends to squad up with, then the finals is absolutely worth your time in 2025. The core promise of unparalleled destruction is still unmatched, the live service updates are consistent, and the high skill ceiling means you always have something to strive for. It's a competitive gem that has successfully found its niche. Download it, stick with it, past the initial learning curve, and I promise you, you won't regret it. And that's it for this edition of Is It Worth It? Let me know in the comments below if you're going to be dropping into the arena in 2025. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.